For decades, the global semiconductor industry relied on a perfect, unified division of labor. We had Western design, European lithography, and East Asian fabrication. At the heart of this system sat one machine, the ASML EUV scanner. It is the most complex machine in history, and for a long time it was the ultimate geopolitical choke point. But that era is over. We are witnessing a great divergence. Since 2022, the U.S. strategy has been explicit: containment. The goal was to freeze China's chip manufacturing at 14 nanometers and deny them access to EUV technology. The core assumption was that EUV is simply too complex to replicate. The supply chain is too fragmented, and the engineering is too hard for any single nation to build in isolation. But Beijing has a response. China has mobilized a whole-of-nation effort, often called a Manhattan Project for chips. Here's the key shift you need to understand. In a global market, companies care about return on investment, ROI. But in a war economy, the metric shifts to supply security. This means China doesn't need to be profitable. They just need to be self-sufficient. So how are they doing it? They aren't just copying ASML. They're diverging. ASML uses LPP, laser-produced plasma. It's like a Formula One car: high power, high speed, and extremely complex. China is pursuing LDP, laser-induced discharge plasma. Think of this as a tank. It has lower power and is dirtier with more debris, but it bypasses key Western choke points like high-power lasers. Crucially, for a state-backed foundry making weapons or AI chips, cost is secondary. As long as the machine works, it is a strategic breakout. Right now, in high-security labs in Shenzhen and Shanghai, engineers, including veterans recruited from ASML, are building what we call Frankenstein systems. They're combining these new domestic light sources with optics harvested from older equipment. The target? Pilot production for strategic chips by 2028. But there is a catch. These domestic machines will have poor yield. If you try to make a massive AI chip on a bad machine, you get catastrophic failure rates. So China is focusing its scarce EUV resources strictly on AI chips, like Huawei's Ascend series. Why? Because AI is existential. To solve the yield problem, they're using yield arbitrage. Instead of making one giant chip, they print 4 smaller chips and stitch them together. It's easier to print a small square than a large one. This brings us to advanced packaging. While the West unites around the UCIe standard, China is building its own walled garden called ACC 1.0. This allows them to mix and match chips from different domestic vendors, Huawei, Longsun, Cambricon, into one powerful package, creating a resilient ecosystem completely inside the Chinese firewall. The result is the Galapagos effect. We're seeing the creation of 2 separate technology stacks. As China's indigenous stack matures, Western sanctions lose their power. You can't sanction what they no longer buy. Western firms lose access to the Chinese market, about 30% of global revenue, while China achieves strategic immunity. And here's the counterpunch. While the West focuses on cutting-edge AI, China is flooding the market with legacy chips, the older foundational chips used in cars and washing machines. By 2027, China could dominate this sector. The strategic threat is simple: you block our AI, we brick your cars. Conclusion: a bifurcated future. We are looking at 3 futures. The most likely is a bifurcated world. The West will lead in the Angstrom era of absolute performance, but China will be self-sufficient at 5 nanometers and 3 nanometers, lagging but safe. Sanctions are efficient as long as dependency exists. Once China builds a substitute, even an expensive one, the sanctions have failed. The era of unipolar semiconductor dominance is over. The era of parallel competition has begun.